Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Andrew Warren and it is currently 3:57 p.m., just 3 minutes until we enter the aftermarket hours for the stock market today. But as you can see, today we've had a fantastic day so far. We are up 1.60%, which is about $1,200. Maybe we'll even reach about 1,300 once it finally hits 4. But by the way, as I always say in these videos, if you enjoy these daily portfolio update videos and me just simply talking about the stock market, the moves that I'm making, my predictions for the future, and just what I think about specific stocks in the stock market, please make sure to drop a like on the video, smash that like button. It really does help me out, and it's super motivating for me to just simply do more videos on the channel, because when I see you all showing love, it definitely gets me excited and hyped to make more videos. So I really do appreciate the love, and just make sure to smash that like button. But as you can see today, we have had a really great stock market day. Started out with a little bit of volatility towards the beginning of the day, and then once we hit that 11:35 a.m. marker, it has just been smooth sailing since then. And as you can see, a lot of these gains today have came from Tesla, which is one of the stocks that I've been super bullish on recently. I'm really excited to see it start shooting up even more in terms of value within the stock market. And then of course Microsoft, my largest holding in my portfolio, did super well today also. It's up 1.42% currently, and I actually sold, if you don't know already, just to give you some context and details as to what I did in the past with my portfolio, I actually sold VOO. VOO used to be my largest holding in the stock market. I owned about $34,000 in it, but it was only worth about $32,000 when I sold, so I did sell it at a loss. But the reason that I did that was so that I could prioritize the money that was in VOO and put it more into Microsoft and Tesla, because I think Microsoft and Tesla can make me more money in both the long term and the short term compared to an ETF like VOO, which generally mirrors the stock market trend. It tracks the top 500 companies in the S&P 500 index, but it only gains about a 10% average for gains every single year. As you can see right now, we're up just a little bit more than usual. At the peak on February 19th, it was up 21%. That was like a rare event or a rare occurrence. It's an irregularity, and that's because usually this stock grows about 10% every year on average. And you have stocks like Tesla and Microsoft, which I believe there's much more opportunity for potential gains there, especially for the last year. Even considering the most recent crash, Microsoft is up about 46%, and then if you look at the last year for Tesla, obviously it's up tremendously because this is the year that it really got its growth. For the past 4 years before that, we really didn't see much action. I mean, even at this point right here though, we were up 40%, but I didn't own Tesla stock back then. I started buying the stock early in 2020, and then I obviously started concentrating more of my wealth into Tesla and Microsoft once I sold VOO as a stock. So basically I sold VOO because I thought I could gain more money by simply concentrating that value on Microsoft and Tesla and Apple. So as you can see, both of these choices right here are outperforming VOO for the day, which I am pretty happy about it. But just to address one more thing, as you can see, the market hours, the normal market hours just ended, and we are in after hours currently. So I gained about $1,000 today, which is super awesome. I'm extremely happy about this. I did make a purchase today on Microsoft. I'll be going into a video talking about that even more in a separate video where I can really analyze the stock and break it down and all of that. But I did make a purchase of Microsoft, and I am planning on making some purchases for Tesla in after hours as well. But I want to do a video on some recent purchases that I already made with Tesla that I haven't covered just yet. So overall, just to let you all know, I have bought more Microsoft and Tesla since my last purchase update video. But like I said, I like to specifically cover each individual stock in their own video for each individual purchase. So I'll be breaking that down in a separate video, but just to talk about the general stock market trend, what is going on currently, and what I think is going to happen in the future. Obviously, we've gotten some fantastic stock market days this past week. I mean, especially with VOO. If you look at the past week, this is basically the general stock market trend. We're up about 1%. I'd say otherwise is true with Microsoft. We may not be up in the positive. Yeah, Microsoft hasn't been as positive as VOO this week. which is kind of obvious, something that I could have guessed because, I mean, VOO hasn't recovered from the crash already. It's still got a ways to recover. But when you have a stock like Microsoft, it is already recovered and it's pretty much past that point or near the very peak point. So obviously with the investors out there that invest in tech and stuff, there is a little bit of cautiousness once we get past this point of the peak before the crash. So people are definitely being cautious when it comes to whether the value of Microsoft will go past the most recent peak. But with VOO, you have opportunities where people see this stock and they see that it hasn't recovered just yet when a lot of the other stocks out in the stock market have recovered. So they're a little bit more confident in making purchases for VOO. I honestly think that is what's happening with the stock market right now and why VOO is doing so well, because people still do see some potential for gains. Just with this gap that we see right here with what it's at right now compared to what it can be at, which is what it was at previously, this 310 marker, 311. So people do see opportunities to purchase something and maybe make a short-term gain on it. And especially if they were already going to purchase VOO for the long term, I mean, right now isn't too bad of a time to purchase, in my opinion. I do think there is some riskiness to purchasing VOO, especially considering that it seems to drop the most out of a lot of the stocks out there in the stock market. So if there is a second wave of the Rona, VOO is going to take a tremendous hit, especially compared to some of the other stocks out there, like tech stocks especially. You have Amazon stock, which will probably do much better than VOO in terms of growth if there is a second wave of the Rona. Hopefully there's not, but I'm just saying that people are seeing an opportunity for some recovery gains here, and that may be why they're purchasing the stock. But we have to be cautious and keep in mind that if we do purchase this stock right now, there is the potential of another crash because of the second wave of the Rona if it does happen. And in my opinion, VOO is going to take a tremendous hit and a much harder hit compared to some of the other stocks out there that are pretty popular, like tech stocks like Apple, Tesla, Microsoft. Tesla will most certainly take a huge hit if there is a stock market crash. I could easily see Tesla dropping by 50%, but that's just how the stock goes. It also does recover tremendously fast. I mean, if you look at the past 3 months, it's recovered already past the peak and way over it at plus 18.49%. So Tesla will drop a lot, but it will recover faster in my opinion too. And just out of pure curiosity, I'd love to see what JP Morgan and Chase is doing today, because it's done fantastic so far this week. It's actually negative today. That's kind of surprising. But if you look at the week overall, it's up 5.15%. That's actually a great gain in a week span. But overall for the past year, still in the negative. It still has a lot to recover here, way much more than VOO. So the bank stocks didn't do too well today, but I did notice a lot of the tech stocks like Apple, even Apple was a little bit positive, not tremendously. Yeah, just barely up a percentage, 0.17%. But like I said, a lot of these tech stocks that I've seen today are doing much better. I mean, even if we look at Google, Google is doing well. It's up like 0.86%. Netflix is doing well, plus 1.71%. So very, very good for Netflix. I mean, Disney is up once again. I knew it took a hard hit yesterday. QQQ is up. Alibaba stock is up tremendously today, so that is pretty cool to see. And just out of curiosity here today, I talked about how I saw a lot of positivity with tech stocks, in which a lot of them have been gaining today. So as we can see right here, if we go to the tech sector, it pretty much shows us a whole list of a lot of the popular ones sorted by popularity. So as you can see, the majority here is green, and Moderna is up 9.67%. There has to have been some news with that lately. I think I saw something about some sort of funding for them looking for like a Rona vaccine or something like that. I think Moderna is not worth getting into right now. Just as a side note, Moderna is one of those super risky stocks where it's only beneficial in the short term. If you look at the long-term chart, this is basically where it started getting popular in February when the Rona became serious. So once the Rona is over with, or Moderna simply announces that they're not working on a vaccine anymore, this stock will absolutely plummet. I mean, I've already talked about it when it was at like the $69 price range. I talked about how it was getting way too high, and people are going to lose a lot of money on this stock if you do hold it long term. So just be careful, because this stock completely relies on the Rona. The only reason there's a lot of value with this stock right now is because they've promised vaccine trials, and of course there's been some talk of a potential vaccine made by this company. So I would just be super careful, because the success rate of that vaccine, I mean, it all depends on whether they're successful with developing one or not. So if they don't develop one, or if a competing company develops one faster, or if simply we just don't get news from this company company for a while, I think that this stock will absolutely plummet because they have really been relying on being in the news recently, especially a lot of these biopharmaceutical companies right now, not even just Moderna, but many of them out there will simply announce that they're working on a vaccine or that they're just simply engaging in efforts that are related to the vaccine. And obviously it's going to cause a growth in their stock price because they're related to one of the most essential things to the economy and the stock market right now. So if they can create a vaccine, the whole stock market is going to be positive as well. So a lot of these pharmaceutical companies out there are simply trying to be involved with the idea of a vaccine because it helps their stock price grow. And if you didn't know already, I believe some of the head people at Moderna have already sold some of their Moderna stock as soon as they announced that they would be doing like vaccine trials, and the stock basically skyrocketed up to like $69. So some of the head people here have even sold off their stock shares, which basically says that they believe the stock price is overvalued and they're taking advantage of that situation. So that's just a heads up for the people involved in like the vaccine Rona stocks. Just be super careful with that. When you're playing with stocks like that, I consider it more like trading rather than investing, or even investing for the short term because it's a super risky stock. I even think a stock like VTIQ is more safe than something like Moderna, and VTIQ I would consider pretty risky. But back onto the main topic, which is our gains and losses for today. First off, we got to start out with Microsoft. And I have to say it, after hours, we have gained about $200. So that's pretty nice. But on to Microsoft, as you can see, plus 1.36%, which is about a $476 gain. And I absolutely love seeing this because this is one of the main reasons I put a lot of my money into Microsoft stock, because I really did think it could do well for me. And so far it has. I'm very happy with this stock. It takes up about 45% of my portfolio. I own 193 shares and my average cost is $171. And it's gone up so much. It was at like 160, but it's gone up a lot recently because I have been purchasing near all-time highs. I do think this is one of those stocks that can grow a lot in the future, so I'm still purchasing near the high points right now. But as you can see, overall, we are at a $2,459 gain, or plus 7.44%. So I'm super happy with how this stock has performed for me. And we have a dividend upcoming soon as well on June 11th for $57. So that is pretty awesome. And then next up, we have Tesla stock, one of my favorites out here. I love talking about Tesla. I love Elon Musk. I love the company. I love their plan for the future. And I think they pretty much have no competition because they have everything planned to a T, and they're already way ahead in the race, and they've lapped their competitors many times over. But as you can see, I own 25 shares. It takes up about 27% of my portfolio. We are plus $729 today, which is about plus 3.62%. And in total, we've made about $527 on this stock. Extremely happy about this, incredibly happy about this. And I still may buy some of this stock in after hours as well, because especially with the SpaceX launch coming up on Saturday, that's going to play a huge momentary role in influencing the stock price as well, in my opinion. Because Elon Musk is the CEO of both SpaceX and Tesla, so if he proves himself once again to be a great leader with SpaceX and launching the Crew Dragon successfully, then I think it's going to carry over to Tesla stock as well, where it's going to face a big growth rate just because of that success. But back on to the last main stock that I hold, which is Apple stock. Didn't go too crazy today, but as long as it's positive, I have no complaints whatsoever. It has done very well for me so far. I own 42 shares, which takes up about 17% of my portfolio. Today we gained a nice 0.20% gain, which is about $27. And then of course we are plus 11.52% overall, which is about a $1,400 gain. Super happy with this stock. I have no complaints whatsoever. I do recognize that the stock price is pretty high, but I also think that the analyst report for fair value is way too low in my opinion. I think this is at least a $300 stock, and I think that's pretty valid for an evaluation. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to smash a like on it. Drop a like on this video. Really does help me out once again. But if you would like to begin investing, feel free to use my referral links in the description just to check out the interface, or if you just want some free stocks as well, if you sign up to Robinhood and Webull with my link in the description, we will both get some free stocks, which is super awesome. But I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. Stay safe out there.